Hey guys, American Pizza Books here. So, I want to talk about something. So, I realize those of you who are seeing the title, I'm kind of late, really, really late to the bandwagon on this one, because, for obvious reasons. But I stumbled across some videos about this topic, and it was, a debate of Harry Potter versus Twilight, like which one was better and everything. And I stumbled across some videos recently last week, and I started just binge watching them, and it was funny because there was one in particular, I don't remember the username, but she was reading off reasons that fans gave as to why Twilight is better, and the reasons were just ranging from shallow to ridiculous to ridiculously shallow. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, the thing is that it's all subjective at the end of the day. I mean, if people enjoy Twilight and they actually think it is a better series than Harry Potter, they're certainly entitled to that opinion. It's all subjective. But this is my opinion on this. Now, obviously, Harry Potter and Twilight have long since ended. I think both the movie series ended in 2012. So that's almost 6 years ago. It's hard to believe, but I mean, obviously with Harry Potter, I mean it's getting another movie series with the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and there's going to be more movies in that series. So I mean, the actual Harry Potter series is over, but the world of Harry Potter is still ongoing. But I mean, Twilight it's pretty much over. I mean, it's pretty much dead at this point. But so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of give my thoughts on this because I mean, like I said, I'm pretty late to this topic, but this is kind of another interesting, kind of like the Stephen King versus Dean Koontz, except for this one, I feel like it's almost kind of funny as well. So let's just explore some of the aspects of the books. So first of all, the setting. So the setting of Harry Potter, you kind of get a prologue. I'm pretty sure it's a prologue, or you get introduced to the Dursleys, Harry's aunt and uncle, and you kind of get a sense of what kind of people they are. And obviously, you've come to find that they're not very good people at all. They're quite mean. They're kind of assholes, but especially to Harry. But you kind of get to know them, and through Uncle Vernon's point of view, you start to see these people in like robes and everything. And eventually we move past that and we get to the point of Dumbledore and McGonagall having a discussion about, something about, someone being overthrown, like a Dark Lord being overthrown, and it was done by this baby, who was, Harry. And, his parents have been killed, so the only option he has is to live with his aunt and uncle. And McGonagall is obviously very hesitant about this because she's seen the type of people that they are. Because before that, there's a cat somewhere, and it's staring at Vernon. It's kind of freaking him out. It's kind of funny, and we come to find out that was McGonagall. So, but yeah, so we just from that we get that, okay, so this obvious threat to this world has been defeated by this baby, just a baby, but now because his parents have died, he has to live with his aunt and uncle, who probably aren't very good people, and definitely have no time for magic and the world of magic and stuff like that, which, as we come to find out later in the series, Petunia knows more about than she lets on. A lot more, actually. But yeah, so that's the setting for that one. And then Twilight, and I'll admit, I have read both of the series. Harry Potter series is probably one of my favorite series of all time. I love the Harry Potter books. The movies are pretty good, but the books, in my opinion, will always be better. So that's one of my most favorite book series of all time. It was my childhood. I've read those books as a kid. I've read all of them, every single one of them, a few times, repeatedly. Twilight books I did read. except for the fourth one. I tried to finish the fourth one multiple times. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But setting of Twilight is Bella is moving in with her dad in Forks, Washington, where it's really rainy. I don't even remember why, and then she goes to school and she's miserable, and then this guy is acting really weird, whom we come to find out is a vampire, and he sparkles. That's basically the setting. So there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but I mean, which setting sounds more intriguing to you? I mean, a setting where we find out that this child has defeated a Dark Lord somehow, or some 17-year-old girl goes to a town and finds out that there's a sparkling vampire that develops an obsession with her, pretty much. I mean, I guess if it was from a psychological thriller standpoint, that the setting of Twilight might be interesting, but obviously everyone knows it's not a thriller. Probably would have been better if it was, but whatever. Those are the settings. Let's talk about world building. So, Twilight, there's really not much there. I mean, again, you're in Forks, Washington. It's rainy. It's never very sunny. You've got the Cullen family. There are other clans of vampires who we don't really meet until like the last book, and even then, they're not really that developed at all, but we'll get to that in a minute. We have the Volturi, who I guess are kind of the main villains of the series, even though, what's his name, James, I think, is pretty much the main villain of the first book, or comes to be. And then there's Victoria in the second and third book, but and then you find out in the second series that there's werewolves too, with Jacob Black and everything, and then, I mean, there's not really a world. I mean, there is, but there's not really a world. It's just these vampires that kind of do their own thing and their own separate clans, and then the werewolves that kind of do their own thing, which, in vampire series like Anne Rice and stuff like that, that's kind of similar, but obviously the characters and the vampires in Anne Rice are much more compelling and much more well developed. I mean, in my opinion, but yeah, so that's really the world building. Harry Potter, on the other hand, the world building is just very intricate. I mean, you've got Hogwarts, the Wizarding School. You've got, Hogsmeade. You've got Diagon Alley, and then you've got all of the other Wizarding schools in like France, and then in Bulgaria and everything. The Quidditch, the Wizarding sport, all the creatures in the world. The house elves, and then, all the different types of classes that the wizard, herbology, charms, of defense against the dark arts, and just all the history of the families and everything, and the houses. The world that J.K. Rowling made is very detailed and intricate and everything. I mean, maybe it can't top, like, J.R.R. Tolkien. I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien set the bar for fantasy pretty much, but still, her world it's pretty big, there's a lot to explore, whereas Twilight, it's pretty straightforward and kind of bland. So, then the themes, what are the themes of the series? Harry Potter, there's a lot of themes, I think, friendship, the power of friendship, loyalty, love, bravery, greed and power in the case of Voldemort. It goes to show what someone will do to have as much power as they can, and and discrimination too, in that case as well, in Voldemort's case and in other characters' case, I mean, you see people like Hermione Granger, one of the main characters of the series. I mean, Harry Potter is the main character of the series, but Hermione is like one of the other main characters, and we see her get shit just because, she doesn't come from a pure-blooded wizarding family. So, And it's just, you know, you see Harry and his friends, you know, go through all of these challenges and all of these just these situations where there's so much at stake and everything, and we followed them for 7 years and everything, and that kind of leads into the next one, which is characters, but I'll get to that in a minute. There's a lot of themes in Harry Potter that are important in real life, really. You know, facing your fears is another one, because in the end, Harry Potter has to face his fear. You know, one of them being, or probably the ultimate one being Voldemort. You know, Twilight. I can't really put my finger on a particular theme. I mean, because there is a lot of bad behavior in Twilight. You know, I mean, I didn't really see it as much when I originally read the series, but now that I kind of reflect back on it, I definitely see what a lot of people talk about. I mean, the relationship between Bella and Edward is very toxic. You know, Edward, he's very obsessive, very controlling, and it's not healthy. I mean, obviously in the second book and in the movie, he leaves because his brother snaps, which was always a possibility anyways, but whatever. And he leaves, and then Bella kind of mopes around for months, you know, and kind of blows off all her friends and everything, and her dad, and I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, really the theme is the importance of having a partner or a boyfriend or whatever, and it doesn't really discourage all of the behaviors. So I mean, I can't really think of an overall theme for Twilight. It's pretty shallow. I mean, when you think about it, in comparison to, you know, the Harry Potter series. I'm not just saying that as a bias. I'm really trying to think of what the theme would be for Twilight, but I can't really think of one other than, you know, just the importance of having a boyfriend and just dependence and everything, codependence, you know. And I mean, like, I'm really searching, but I mean, like, some people will probably say that, there's some hardcore fans will say that it's love, but that's not. It's not really a healthy type of love, but whatever. And I'll just get into the last point, the characters. So, this is a no-brainer. I mean, from what I can remember in Twilight, the main characters, pretty much like Bella, Edward, Jacob, I guess, later on, none of them really get any sort of real development. Like, I don't remember Bella or Edward developing as characters at all. Like, I remember them being pretty much the same people that they were in the first book that they are in the last book. There's no real development there. Same with really a lot of the side characters. Jacob, if anything, Jacob doesn't have character development. It's the other way around. But, and it's the characters. A lot of the characters, really looking back, aren't that likable at all. Like, I mean, the main characters, which I said is like, I'd say Bella, Edward, and Jacob, they're all fighting all the time because it's a whole freaking love triangle. Which, if a love triangle is done well, you know, I've read love triangles that are done pretty well in other series, and that's okay. But this love triangle obviously is just a fucking disaster. Whereas the characters in Harry Potter, you know, Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger, you go on this journey with them for 7 years, and you see them develop and mature so much as characters through all the challenges and situations that they go through in the series. And so many of the side characters, Snape, Dumbledore, Hagrid, Neville Longbottom, arguably one of the best characters in the series, in my opinion. I mean, look at what type of character he is in the first book, compared to, I mean, look at how he is at the last book compared to what he was in the first book. He really develops as a character, and there's so many more interesting side characters. But so obviously, the Harry Potter series has the better characters. So in my opinion, no question about it, the Harry Potter series is superior in every way over the Twilight series. I mean, that's not even really a debate, but again, that's just my opinion. So, anyways, I'm out of time. So that's it. That's my opinions on this topic. Peace, and keep on reading.